we are living in a age where if I don't feel connected to internet, I don't feel safe connected to internet. I would rather turn off my internet and would want to leave for some place where I'm not getting tracked. So we ensure that no third party organization need to have access of your data. You can still work with as a partner organization. They can still work together, but they will never have the access of the user PII and other set of data. The trust is being maintained by the technology. We have enabled this thing for more than 580 million people.
Wow.
This is almost like 70 to 73% of the people who are digitally transacting in India. Okay. And something which we take pride in, that we are bringing back the privacy control for at least these many people.
In the next 5 years, how do you see each of the technologies that are currently hyped or were hyped in the last 2-3 years, being it blockchain, be it generative AI, or be it anything else? How do you see those, at least these two technologies, evolve over a period of next 5 years? So what are your views on this?
See, point is, first of all, as a founder, we keep saying that the best way to predict the future is to start building for it.
Welcome back to this exciting episode of Fintech Ki Baat Dil Se. We are now in the part 2 Dhandhe Ki Baat with Mr. Saurabh Gupta, who is the founder and CEO at VeriSmart.AI. Thank you so much, Saurabh, for doing this. We had a really interesting conversation with you in our part 1 with you of founder story, where you shared about your journey, who should actually start up, why should you start up, and answered a lot of fundamental questions about entrepreneurship. Thank you so much for that. It was really insightful. And guys, if you haven't checked it out, the link should be somewhere here. Just go click on it and check it out. We'll wait for you here till you come back. Now that you're back, let's deep dive into what essentially VeriSmart.AI does. From what Saurabh told me, and I have been trying very hard to remember, it is a decentralized data infrastructure, right? So, सर जी थोड़ा ऐसे बताइए जैसे हमें समझ में आ जाए ये है क्या decentralized data infrastructure.
So, Shreyas, I'll just give a very simple context. So, we all understand data is the new oil. Okay.
True.
And every of these large organizations are building their own oil, because data creates an incremental value. Okay. So these are different set of data infrastructure companies. So a telecom is a current data infrastructure company. They tend to have a lot of data about the consumer behavior, about what all things you have been doing on their platform and XYZ. And similarly, a bank would have it. Similarly, e-commerce platform would have it, or a logistic company would have it, and similar, all these organizations. And the people who have not been doing the data business, they're now jumping into the data business.
True.
Because this grows with over the period of time. So that is the context. Now the point is in what they do with this data. Okay, the first and foremost thing is, so in the entire ecosystem, singularity as a platform is a concept. It means if you're a travel company, you want your user to have a connected experience on the same platform.
True.
It means whether I need to book a cab for going to the airport, whether I need to get my airline tickets or my hotels, or even if I'm flying cross border, the travel insurance, or even if I have to get all of these entire thing converted into a package, and then having a financial angle of that converted to to getting me what do you call it, as a trip on the EMI basis.
Right.
So all of these are built to provide a consumer as a connected experience. And similarly, more other set of payment platforms, and everyone is looking for those kind of a journey. So it's all focused on enhancing the consumer experience, getting that personalization or hyper personalization in user, so that the platform can understand that user well and can reach them right set of product at the right set of time itself. And also on the same time can upsell and cross sell different product lines which may be coming from different partners of that institution itself. When all of these things are happening, one thing which many many problems might pop up, which is around security of data, which is around privacy of data, which is around what our consumer wants and what the consumer does not want. Having a clear guideline for all of them is something which is the case itself. Now what we have created is that all this data infrastructure are in silos. They want to interact. What they currently do is they trade data which is non-legit, and with the privacy laws coming into the landscape, this become a bottleneck for them. Now they still want to have the business continuity, but at the same time what we are bringing on table is that you can have that continuity where you become also important custodian of your consumer data privacy. You act as a custodian to kind of protect your consumer from any third party data abuse. And this is where we created this entire framework and protocol. You can call it as a decentralized framework. Why we have put it as decentralized? So that there's no central repository which stores all the data at one place. Because if you let's assume if there are top 20 companies of the country and they store data at one place, then it become a honey pot for the hacker world itself. They can just start attacking them and try to find out the ways to hack it, because then it become a security issue. So we created that framework which is where data resides on their respective premise, and without them a need of trading data to each other, they can work on the intelligence layer itself.
Okay, so interoperable intelligence layer while siloed databases.
Yes, in a decentralized or
understood.
So this is where the connected experiences can be imparted to all their consumers without moving their data from one place to another. So this is something which we have created. This is a very interesting thing when it comes to data privacy landscape. So a lot of geography level organization, which are the telecoms or the banks or even the governments, have started engaging with us, where they say that we want to protect our data. We want that we should still impart a hyper personalized connected experience to all our consumers, and at the same time protect them, that their data should not be abused. That is something which is being there, because if this is, let's assume we remove this layer, now what would happen? You will start getting more spams from all the organization, because they in the marketing phenomena we call it as spray and pray model. This is a very interesting again concept. Like the wider you spread the net with the intent that you will able to catch more consumers, that is something which lead to spamming across the market. So मेरे को अभी जैसे मैं कुछ दिन पहले देख रहा था, I got a message for gaming. मैंने अपनी पूरी 15 साल की पास्ट 15 साल में एक बार भी कोई गेमिंग एप्लीकेशन डाउनलोड नहीं करी. Now they assumingly that I can be a potential customer for them, they were sending me the links for the fantasy gaming and all this stuff itself.
Right.
This is spamming, because no intent from the consumer side, and business is not able to crack whether I am a potential consumer or not.
True.
In order to curb that practice of spamming and also make user feel protected, and organization able to kind of standardize and understand the value of the data they hold, that is something which we are solving for in the ecosystem.
Perfect. Amazing. So if I talk about this from a consumer side, right? As a consumer, how would I look at it? How would things change? So जो current understanding है मेरी, for example, let's take example of XYZ travel company. I go there to book my flights, I go there to book my cabs, book my hotels, everything. So they have the entire data set of who Shreyas is, what his age is, ये कहाँ travel करता है, कौन सी वाली cab लेता है, कौन सी वाली hotel में रहता है, and probably even my PAN number because कहीं ना कहीं वो loan वगैरह के लिए मांगा रहेगा. It tells me insurance and everything. Parallelly, that entire that is the persona that they have created here.
Yes.
A food delivery app would have a different side of me.
Yes.
That would have कि ये बंदा क्या खाना prefer करता है, कहाँ से मंगाता है, what type of food does he eat, what are his maybe meal timings if I'm ordering regularly. So all of those things they have. So in this scenario, both data are in silos and they have different intelligence for me. So यहाँ पे एक जो आपने बात कही थी about interoperable intelligence without undermining the silos, right? So यहाँ पे how would that play out? And then let's also talk about how would privacy play out in this kind of a scenario.
Okay. So first of all, what we have given to our consumers is a data kavach as an application. This data kavach application is being built just to ensure that first of all you get to know which all platform holds what kind of data about you. Right. In the present world, general awareness amongst the masses is not being there of what these particular organizations hold data about me, and they have a very limited understanding. And if supposedly I'm no longer I do not want to use this app, I just assume if I'll delete the app, the data gets automatically deleted, which is really not the scenario. So we ensure and provide this data kavach app to our consumer. Now on the other side, when different data silos, let's say you given an example ki there's a food delivery application and then there's a travel application, and they want to intelligently kind of have this data interoperability on the intelligence layer. So in this particular case, what these organizations would be able to create as a connected experience is that Shreyas is a frequent traveler. He is a vegetarian, and he tends to eat at 10 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. most of the time, and his menu ordered, even if he's going, let's say now you are here in India, now you are going to Vietnam or you are going to some other city itself, and you are a fan of having a good pizza, or you're a fan of having a local cuisine itself. Okay, you are very much experimental with your food type. Okay, then your preference would be given in such a way that it will start showing you more personalized or local cuisine itself on that particular application itself.
Understood.
So this will help you to have a better decision making, faster decision making on what to eat, because you are a person for whom the time is money, and you do not want to spend 45 minutes or 30 minutes on hovering over the application of a food app of what to eat, because since it is not coming from your regular restaurant, you are in some other city, you do not know what is the best restaurant and XYZ. So it might bifurcate it into the further understanding that he mostly eats from a restaurant which is 4-star rated, which has a good ratings, and he tends to eat this kind of a food, and this is what personalization can bring to you. So this is something. Now the point is, this is all in order to make it completely compliant. What we have given the user is a consent management as a service application.
I see.
Now they can manage whether they want this personalized behavior or not.
Got it.
One single step, and they can do it all across all the platforms which they are connected.
Wow. So just to kind of reiterate what you said, in this scenario, if I'm, let's say, traveling to XYZ country, the travel app does not know my food preferences, but the food app does, right? So in this case, the travel app could then end up showcasing, in collaboration with the data insights from the food app, that ki yahan pe these are the restaurants that you would want to eat, these are the kind of meals available, these are the your frequently ordered items जो यहाँ पे अच्छे मिलते हैं, those kind of things, even before I leave the country.
Yes.
So if you're going to the foreign country जो आपको टेंशन रहता है बेसिकली कि यार कहाँ पे खाएंगे, वेज मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा whatever, तो वो सारी चीजें आपकी वहाँ पे सॉर्ट हो सकती है. That is, and I think this just barely scratches the surface. And given the fact that now you are able to do that safely with across multiple services, that could lead to a very powerful customized experience again without compromising data privacy. Because normally this would involve either an SDK being integrated of the food company into this guy's travel company app, जहाँ पे आपका पूरा डेटा शेयर होगा, वो डेटा कैसे फॉर्म में कहाँ शेयर हो रहा है और कहाँ से बीच में SQL इंजेक्शन होके कौन कैसे निकाल रहा है, you never know what's happening.
So see, so Shreyas, that's why I said na, I did not had any eureka moment. It was something, an evolution of our startup which has happened, because we were very much particular about the compliances, about the privacy standards, about how the data need to be managed, and a lot of these regulators like RBI, SEBI, IRDI, and other set of regulators, they've put up a very stringent norms on all these organizations itself, so they can manage their consumer pretty well. They do not abuse their consumer in any aspect. So we thought that why only regulated institution? Why can't we go beyond? And that's why what we have created as a framework to with that learning of compliances and data privacy aspect, and also enhancing those personalized experiences across the industries. So that is something made us or pushed us to build or evolve into a data framework company.
Got it.
And that is something which we believed over a very long period of time should exist across different geographies, because we are living in a age where if I don't feel connected to internet, I don't feel safe connected to internet, I would rather turn off my internet and would want to leave for some place where I'm not getting tracked. And earlier this was tracking which was happening on the third party data cookies. Although they do not have the insight, like they do the tracking without user being aware of it. Here user can control that particular thing, and data need not move between the different organizations.
Right.
So that has been the learning, and that's what we try to deliver to our consumers.
Understood. So given this situation, right, one question that kind of comes to my mind is, what is the current data privacy scenario for customers, and should I be worried about my data right now?
So I think everyone should be worried about their data. Okay, and data privacy laws helps you to feel more protected while you connect to internet, and also lays down those framework and guidelines or the policies for every digital native organization to adhere. Many digital native organizations which are small, which have recently started, they tend to neglect all these compliances.
Right.
They tend to neglect all those things in a utter motive of having a higher profits. So in those particular case of how these organizations can work for building a better consumer experience, should also adhere that particular thing that is now being taken care by the government or after releasing those data privacy laws. So these data privacy laws are being, if I have to put it from a consumer perspective, it is very simple to understand, although these are long dossiers to understand, but for consumer it is very simple. It talks about where your data need to be stored, who is the primary data fiduciary, we call it, and what all they can collect from you, how long they can store it.
Right.
You have defined a purpose, they can use it for that respectively, only that purpose itself, no matter even if they have 40-50 different products.
Right.
Do not use it for those 39 different products which you have not consented.
Got it.
They can define the timeline of consent, that it is not like an umbrella consent that once you have given it to someone and it is gonna be there for years and years, and give them
Right.
a kind of a power to hold your data without you knowing it. So it defines the timeline of that consent, and at the end also gives you a power that whenever you want, your data should be deleted from them effectively, like immediately and effectively.
Amazing.
So that is something which these data privacy laws are solving for the consumer, making internet a safer place for them, and least bothered about, because I think it's not the prime data fiduciary or which gets into the your data abuse. It's the third party handshake which they do on that. We have seen the Facebook and Cambridge Analytica use case. This is a very famous use case. People have built movies on this particular thing itself. So in the Facebook and Cambridge Analytica, Facebook has the API infrastructure, and Cambridge Analytica took advantage of that particular thing, while they use it for a fantasy game or like a Candy Crush and something like this. And they tend to churn the entire public profile of the consumer and use for political purposes and everything, for which user was never getting involved, and their decision making was getting influenced while doing this.
I see.
So we ensure that no third party organization need to have access of your data, and still work with as a partner organization. They can still work together, but they will never have the access of the user PII and other set of data. And user is able to see it and control it with this particular platform.
Understood. No, I think this is pretty interesting. So what kind of technologies go into building this kind of a platform?
So since we talked about having a kind of a connected experiences and all that stuff. So in a decentralized framework, we have gone with using blockchain technology itself. Then we have been using a lot of Gen AI technology, or the RPA processes. RPAs are the robotic process automation processes, in order to enhance that user journeys across multiple touch points.
I see.
At the same time, we have created our own set of IP framework and protocols. These data protocols created by us are just to protect user data across all these different touch point itself. So while all these organizations have a intelligence democratization, they really do not operate on the real data. They operate on the indicators of that intelligence. That is something which we ensure. Then it's a complete blend of multiple technologies working together, and that is why we do not have one CTO in our organization. We have rather 6 different tech heads for the respective domain, because we were not able to find one person who has cumulatively that kind of a expertise and know-how or a subject matter expertise on all the domains. So
let me just pause you right there. You said one very interesting item, right? You said that the organizations wherein data sharing is happening using your platform, actual data is not being shared. It's the intelligence indicators that are being shared.
Yes.
So if you were to draw an analogy to the use case that we spoke about earlier, what would that look like in that scenario? Like if we were to kind of like slice the data packets and look ki kya pass ho raha hai. So what would that look like?
So see, point is, first of all, what we do is that we clip off any set of PII information from the entire train. So we have technology in place which first of all checks what kind of a data pipelines are being created. Okay. And it clip offs any set of PII from that data pipelines. It removes them. Now we use a differential privacy method. Now differential privacy methods are the methods where you operate on more look-alike kind of an audience, where let's say there is a digital persona
Mm-hmm.
is being created. That digital persona is being brought in use without knowing if it's a Shreyas or a Saurabh or any other person.
I see.
Okay, so that differential privacy is being implemented, and now without consuming the real value of the data. So let's say a telecom would have an intelligence that this is a person who spends 10 hours on social media, or let's say 2 hours on a e-commerce website.
Right.
Okay. But we clip off that real data intelligence and pick up very specific indicator. For that we have built zero knowledge proof protocol, which carries the proof that this is someone who's spending times into this particular, or this persona is spending time into social media or e-commerce in a significant manner, without mentioning the exact amount of number to, or attaching a number to that particular thing itself.
Got it.
And then that indicators across all the different network participants are being brought to use. The best part is we do not containerize that entire information. We make it searchable across all the touch points.
Okay.
So it's like you are able to run a same set of search query in a decentralized framework or a decentralized infrastructure, which is going to all those organizations in the real time itself, and then coming back with a response of a kind of a persona. And this is all on cohort basis. There's no user. So using our technology, you cannot target it to the one person itself.
Okay, so this would not be a person-specific use case for the organization then. If they would want to kind of blend data analytics of a X organization with their own organization, they would not be able to do it at an individual level, but at a cohort level.
Yes, rather cohort level, because
so they would also have to have me as a part of one of the cohorts internally that aligns with the cohorts that you have created.
Yes. If so, and it's not like if let's say we have 1,000 different organizations part of this framework. If you are having a touch point on 20 or 30 of those organizations, then your observability or your would be only for those 30 organizations, not for other set of organizations. And these are all first party platforms. Now, what happens with a first party platform, if you're not there on a platform which is 31st, then you are not being considered in that persona.
I see.
So you by default, with your consent, with your opt-in, has to go to some other platform as a consumer, and then you can actually become a part of that activity. Otherwise, that intelligence will never be used by 31st organization to kind of.
So these 30 organizations would be selected by that one organization. Yes, these are the 30 organizations that I would want to be.
They need not select. So the point is, they don't. Technology maintains the source of truth proof that whatever this organization is saying about look-alike audience of Shreyas, then it's something. It does not make them aware about who all of these organizations are. Reason very simple, because if they tend to know the organization, then they might kind of collaborate with each other to abuse on this particular thing, and they can try to take the real data from them or buy that real data from them, which
makes sense.
Prior to us, many organizations used to do.
Yes.
A lot of third party platforms used to buy data from other organizations itself. But in our environment, they cannot do this because they don't know this thing. The trust is being maintained by the technology. So that's why we call it as a trustless framework.
Trustless framework.
Yes.
Amazing. I think this is really brilliant, and I think this is probably, once implemented at a large scale, this could impact the way users access the internet and share their data in a huge manner. Any specific use cases that are essentially live that I might have used?
So we have enabled 61 large organizations for this particular framework.
Okay.
This involves 12 different industries,
Mm-hmm.
from banks, telecoms, OTA, OTT, logistics,
Oh, wow.
e-commerce platforms, payment aggregators platforms, and
Mm-hmm.
similarly more. So the point is, um, we as a technology framework does not go specific to a use case. We
Mm-hmm.
have laid down the infrastructure where any of the other organization, any brand can build their specific use cases on top of
Okay.
it. Second important, we
Mm-hmm.
at an infrastructure level, we have enabled this thing for more than 580 million people.
Wow.
This is almost like 70 to 73% of the people who are digitally transacting in India. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
something which we take pride in, that we are bringing back the privacy control for
Mm-hmm.
at least these many people. And
Got it.
it may be just we are looking for the consumer side
Mm-hmm.
kind of adoption. And I think once the consumer side adoption would be there, they're able to control all of these data across all the touch points.
So that's your data coverage app,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes,
Amazing.
yes,
I'll definitely try it out and
yes. I'm
probably
please
take
give
control
me a
of my
feedback
data.
on this.
Bilkul, bilkul, bilkul. Having said that, I think I have a very interesting question for you, and I think you are probably one of the most rightly suited person to answer this question that I've had on the show so far. No offense to anyone who's been here, but and I always ask this question, right? Ki in the next 5 years, how do you see each of the technologies that are currently hyped or were hyped in the last 2-3 years, being it blockchain, be it generative AI, or be it anything else? How do you see those, at least these two technologies, evolve over a period of next 5 years? And what kind of profound impact can they have? We've already started seeing Gen AI make a lot of changes in the way we live. At least people who have started using it by some sort of prompt engineering, they would have realized it can have a tremendous impact. So what are your views on this?
See, point is, first of all, as a founder,
Mm-hmm.
we keep saying that um, the best way to predict the future is to start building for it. Okay,
Bilkul.
so that is one aspect. But I strongly believe 5 year down the line, uh, the technology of what we are using today
Hmm.
would be 200% obsolete. So we don't know what kind of a technology landscape we will be there in next 5 years.
Okay.
And generative AI is still a very, I would say, it's still solving for very very specific use cases
Mm-hmm.
into of what can possibly an AI do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but so less than a year before, you might not even have heard of agentic AI processes,
Mm-hmm.
or you have not heard of anything around artificial general intelligence. Now just imagine
Mm-hmm.
that people who have started building from the Gen AI product, which is around how artificial intelligence can learn from the past data
Mm-hmm.
and superimposed with certain training, they
Right.
can fine tune to respond in a in a generative manner, so that they can have certain intelligence to think
Mm-hmm.
and can build on that. And then this has started disrupting the marketing industry. This has started in disrupting how the content generation happens in the present world, and
Mm-hmm.
similarly more other set of industries itself.
Bilkul.
No, but when it comes to an agentic AI, it means it is all being focused of how AI can mimic the human experience
Hmm.
and while automating the entire process itself, or the supply side of it.
So when you say a mimic human experience, what does that exactly mean?
So I have invested in a company
Hmm.
which was building the virtual AI bots. Now,
Mm-hmm.
4 years back, this company used to build a virtual AI bot, which you can very much identify that this is, they would say that this is a digital twin of Saurabh Gupta, but you can very well see that this is really an an AI bot and everything else. Now, when I say humanized experience or mimic that humanized experience, now they've reached to a level that they can make me talk to my bot, and I would not be able to differentiate largely that this is which one is the real one.
Oh my
So they
God.
have used different technology layer of how my skin would look like, how different content, the way I am talking, the way I'm taking pause while talking, the tone which I use, most of the time use. So it's
Right.
like the same set of experience is being put to the agentic AI side of it.
Amazing.
So,
That is
so
actually scary.
very, yes. So the point is, many of the AI companies are being led by those founders which are product first. Okay, they are their technology or the product first. They many of them have not gone into the assessment of the possible repercussions, and this is where all the stakeholders in the ecosystem, whether it may be government, whether it may be the regulators, whether it may be AI companies, whether it may be the consumer themselves, they all have to come to the same platforms and define the possible guidelines and the policies to control this disruptive behavior. Everything otherwise would be would go for a toss in terms of you believing anything which you see online, uh, creating that authentication of what you see online. I was seeing
Right.
one of the video where someone has created one of the famous influencer. I don't want to call out a name. Very famous influencer was spreading a wrong narrative online, and that is something they were talking rubbish and using curse word and all that stuff. It occurred to be that this was an AI generated content,
Oh my
and this was completely a deep fake plus AI generated content. And it is, if I would use it, I would see it as a consumer, I would be 100% misguided with that approach.
True.
So all of these stakeholders has to come together to kind of solve for it. Otherwise, and they have to solve it now. There's no tomorrow. Trust me. Otherwise, it blows out of that proportion that we cannot do anything. We cannot be at a stage where we would even think of solving it. And so all of these action has to be taken today. We are not talking that this action has to be taken by after a year, after what more. These actions are much needed.
And who has to take this action? Does this need to be regulated or controlled at a government level, or does this need to be like a more social responsibility kind of a thing wherein people kind of understand and use it responsibly?
So, see, obviously, stakeholders, when I say government is one of the stakeholder, consumers are the other. I
Right.
think the founders who are building on AI, they are important stakeholders. So when we talk about AI for good, when we talk about ethical AI,
Right.
when we talk about, we should rather be talking about ethical founders.
True.
We should talk about the if AI founders have been given certain responsibility and have built certain power, then there should be a kind of a framework to keep a check that this is not getting abused.
True.
Okay, so that is something which all of these stakeholders has to work together. Government might lay down the foundational thing in terms of policy making.
Bilkul.
This AI founders can create consortiums amongst themselves of what is legit, what is not, what
True.
need to be practiced, and like the way we always have more consortiums to solve for a problem, to be there. On the consumer side, they should be very much aware. They should have a general awareness about the technology. They should have their own set of due diligence or checks, basic checks which a platform should provide or they should do to not get into a problem, to be aware, and also do not get trapped into this world of being abused.
Bilkul, no, I think this is really important. And like, while I'm super excited about what's next in the realm of upcoming technologies like AI and all of that, as you rightly said, it also needs to be very, very carefully orchestrated, as well as built by people who are behind the scenes building these platforms and these technologies, or working on these technologies. As you said, ethical AI. Founders should be building ethically, not supporting those use cases, or maybe figuring out way to control those use cases so that they are not being used for bad.
Yeah.
But at one point of time, it also comes to, at a larger scale, while it may sound grandiose when I say it, but it comes to the point of civilization's moral compass kis taraf ja raha hai, ultimately.
Yeah, see, and there gonna be certain mistake which would happen as something non-intentional, but they, at least we can go and cover for those mistakes which are the intentional, or which um, where the individual morals are being compromised,
Right.
and that led to a bigger problems. So at least we can try solve, if not for the 100%, but for aiming for that 90% to
True.
be addressed. Okay, and then obviously, so let's say I was on a panel yesterday, and they were talking about that um, many of the founders, in order to move fast, they tend to overlook all of these things. Since many of them are not the tech first, they themselves are not being a tech, they kind of transfer this responsibility to the juniors, or to people who are all about building and not
Right.
about any repercussions and everything. They,
Mhm.
they, they tend to use those steps which are in a direction which would be devastating for that organization and for the to that humanity, because they've been given unrealistic agendas and the goals to achieve,
True.
just to differentiate themselves from the competition.
Makes
So I was just talking about that. Many people says that we have created our own set of Gen AI models. Okay,
sense.
now what is happening? They pull all those uh, large LLMs, which are open source LLMs, and now this LLMs, when being brought together without having a check whether that particular LLM consists of any biases,
Right.
when that particular LLM consists of any PII data, when that particular LLM is I'm sorry, there's a can create hallucination for that AI model. Okay, so, and in order to move fast, they just bring them, club them together, fine tune to the use case, and then they just release it without having any set of all these different checks and
Right.
audits in places. And this leads to bigger problems. I was reading a newspaper, and heard a very disturbing news that um, that a student, while surfing on a chat GPT, or if it was a chat GPT or some other model, I don't remember, that if your parents control you from your screen time, then killing the parents is ethical. And this was a complete video where that maybe a 10-year-old, 11-year-old child, he waited after a certain thing. His mother was sitting. He just banged on her head with a bat.
Oh my God.
So this is the social,
Right.
biggest social repercussion, because AI is reaching out to the age of anyone. I think a 7-year-old kid have started using AI itself to a 60-year-old so my parents have been doing a lot of search using ChatGPT. Now the point is that we have to ensure that their innocence and their their knowledge around the subject is being very limited, and they tend not get into a wrong path. So this is
Definitely.
something
Very scary.
I think
Yes.
founders and everyone has to AI founders and everyone has to take care of.
Definitely. I think that is very well put and demonstrated. Uh, I think this has really been a very interesting conversation. I've learned a lot about AI, about data infrastructures, and while I'm excited about the future of what a decentralized data infrastructure can bring, what Gen AI can bring as an impact, the potential, misuses or side effects also scare me from an AI perspective, specifically as you just talked about the couple of pieces, as well as the piece wherein the entire persona can be cloned and a video can be created which is indistinguishable even by the person himself. Like that would essentially induce you into a pseudo dementia कि भाई ये कब हुआ था यार मैंने भूल गया क्या ऐसा.
No, and I think Shreyas, this is again very interesting. More people are working towards having a negative use case of the technology. I think we need more founders, more people building for authenticating and building on the positive side of it.
Right.
Now, because this is something which we now AI is being used for early cancer detection. AI is being used to know if you are possible that your cornea would actually how much life does your cornea is left with. Okay, so there are a lot of positive use cases, and there are organizations who are building anti-deepfake technology. They detect using AI that if the content generated is a deepfake or not.
AI versus AI.
It's not AI versus AI. I would still differ on this thing. It's the good versus evil. AI is a tool,
right,
which
both are using.
Powers both of them.
Right.
Okay, and the point is, it is totally on our society morals and our grounds that on which side we put more effort. Are we putting more effort to protect and create a more constructive society, or use these forces for build something more destructive?
I'll try to make an analogy. I'm not sure if it will fall flat or if it will actually relate, but this gives me an eerie vibe of the situation that we were in the early 50s when we had just discovered the power of nuclear. It could be used for a bomb, it could be used to make electricity almost free and limitless.
Yes.
The efforts on which side we are putting is essentially what dictates our future.
Yes. We have more than, I think, correct me if this number is wrong. We have more than 60 plus countries in the world which have a nuclear capability,
right,
but only very limited which really have a nuclear power plant to fuel for the electricity and the percentage of our electricity consumption.
True.
So the point is, I think this really shows the real face of the society.
Indeed.
But we still believe more in destructive forces and rather using it for more constructive way.
True.
So let's see how it happens for the AI.
Yes, and here's to hoping it turns out the other way around, and more people get inspired like you to work for the good and for the betterment of the people. Having said that, I think this has been a brilliant conversation, Saurabh. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot. Genuinely, I think this has been a very enlightening episode, personally for me as well, and I'm hoping the audience is going to love this conversation. And thank you so much once again.
Thanks, Shreyas, for inviting me, and really appreciate for putting all the right questions. And I'm sure at least we would be able to inspire few people to start building for good.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes.